A UK finance executive picks up the phone. He hears his CEO's voice, unmistakable, calm, authoritative. Wire €220,000 to a supplier in Hungary. Do it now. He did. That wasn't his CEO. It was a clone built from 3 seconds of audio. The money was gone before anyone in that company understood what had happened. Different country, different stakes. A 58-year-old woman in the UK went for a routine mammogram. 2 radiologists looked at it. Both cleared her. An AI looked at the same scan and flagged a cluster of microcalcifications neither of them had caught. She survived. These 2 cases look nothing alike, but they share exactly one thing. In both cases, the technology already existed. In both cases, the people who needed to know didn't. That's not a glitch. There's a systematic gap between what AI can actually do right now and what you were told it can do. And that gap is not closing by accident. This is a countdown of 11 things AI can already do that nobody set you down to explain. We're going fast, we're going specific. But here's what I need you to stay for, because by the time we get to number 1, you won't just know what AI can do. You'll understand exactly why the people who already know about it haven't told you. Number 11. And we're starting in a doctor's office. Not because it's the most dramatic, because it's the most documented. AI systems scanning eye images for diabetic retinopathy, a leading cause of blindness worldwide, are detecting it with sensitivity above 90%. Your average GP is not hitting that number. The AI matches specialist ophthalmologists, people who trained for a decade. This isn't AI-adjacent performance. It's equal or better, and it runs on a phone-sized device. Number 10 is where I need you to pay close attention. In 2020, a 58-year-old woman in the UK had her mammogram cleared by 2 radiologists. Both said normal. The AI flagged it. A cluster of microcalcifications too subtle for the human eye to catch on that pass. She got treated. She survived. This case was part of a Google Health study published in Nature, a blinded head-to-head trial where the AI reduced false negatives by a 9.4% compared to trained radiologists. 9.4% sounds small. It isn't. In breast cancer, a false negative is the one that kills you. Number 9 happened inside an ICU. UC San Diego researchers built a system that predicted patient deterioration up to 48 hours before any clinical signs appeared, before the monitors alarmed, before the nurses noticed. 48 hours. The accuracy beat nursing staff. That's not augmentation. That's a different category of awareness entirely. Here's what matters most about these 3. None of them are prototypes. They are benchmarked, peer-reviewed results published years before AI entered the mainstream conversation. You are having debates about chatbots writing essays while hospitals had data showing AI could out-detect cancer. If it already outperforms doctors in detection, what does it outperform in judgment? And which professions are sitting exactly where medicine was 5 years ago? Item 8. Law. That's exactly where medicine was 5 years ago. February 2023, OpenAI ran GPT-4 through the Uniform Bar Exam, the test that determines who gets to practice law in the United States. It scored in the 90th percentile. 9 out of 10 human law graduates, first attempt, outperformed. 3 years of law school, 6 figures in tuition debt. 1 exam. A model cleared it in a sitting. And here's what didn't make the headline. Most jurisdictions still have zero disclosure rules. Your lawyer can use AI to draft every piece of your legal strategy and has no legal obligation to tell you. Japan didn't wait for the debate. In 2023, courts there began accepting AI-generated legal briefs in civil proceedings. Not as an experiment. Accepted. Mid-sized firms quietly let junior associates go. No press releases, no announcements in the trade press. The headcount shrank. The billing rates held. Item 7. Same year. Google's Medpile M2 cleared the U.S. medical licensing exam at over 85% accuracy. That's the exact threshold that filters human doctors after 8 years of medical school and residency. The model didn't do rounds, didn't do call, passed the same boards anyway. Item 6 is where competition framing stops working entirely. 2020, DeepMind's AlphaFold 2 predicted the 3-dimensional structure of roughly 200 million proteins. In months, scientists had estimated the same task, done through traditional wet lab methods, would take humanity's entire scientific workforce thousands of years. Not decades, thousands. Protein folding was one of the hardest open problems in biology for 50 years. Drug pipelines, cancer treatments, antivirals, neurological drugs sat stalled for decades because researchers couldn't determine how molecules folded. AlphaFold didn't augment the process. It closed the problem. Decades of blocked discovery unlocked. Three professions: the bar, the medical boards, the molecular structure of life, all crossed. Not after a public debate about whether AI was ready. After, the credentials are still the same. The exams haven't changed. And the licensing systems, bar associations, medical boards, accreditation bodies, have not updated in response to any of this. AI already cleared their exams. So who decides whether those exams still mean what they used to? And who benefits most from that question taking a very long time to get answered? 6 items down. You made it to the halfway point. And if you've been paying attention, you've seen a pattern: detection, diagnosis, credentials, exams. Things AI cleared while the gatekeeping systems pretended nothing changed. What's coming is different. The first 6 were about what AI does better than humans. The next 5 are about what AI does without you knowing it's happening at all. The gap stops being a lag. It becomes architecture. Systems watching you right now, speaking in your voice without your permission, making decisions about your money and your government with no human in the loop. And the people running these systems have very specific reasons for not bringing any of this up. Item 5. A UK finance executive picked up his phone in 2019 and heard his CEO's voice. Urgenton wired €220,000 to a supplier in Hungary. Now, he did it. That voice was not his CEO. It was a synthetic clone, the first publicly confirmed case of AI voice fraud at corporate scale. The money was never recovered. That was 2019, 7 years ago. Today, commercial tools can clone any voice from 3 seconds of audio. 3 seconds. A voicemail, a clip from a public speech. And the clone runs in real time, which means the call you're on right now could already be one. Item 4. You probably picture stock markets as rooms full of traders, or at least algorithms with humans watching. Here's what's actually happening. Between 60 and 73% of all U.S. equity market volume is executed by autonomous AI. Microsecond decisions. No human approving the trade. No human even watching it happen. While financial media was still running segments on the potential of AI, AI had already taken over the market. Not as a tool, as the market itself. The humans covering it just hadn't updated the narrative. Item 3. Stanford HAI documented this in 2025. AI chat platforms, the ones you're probably using, are merging your conversation data with your search history, your purchases, your social media activity. They're building profiles, and in those profiles, you get a tag. Health vulnerable, financially stressed, politically persuadable. You don't get notified. You don't get asked. Those tags don't just sit there. Insurance companies and pharmaceutical firms are already using inferred health data from chat logs and search behavior to target vulnerable users with medication ads. You told a chatbot you've been anxious. You now get ads for anxiety medication. Nobody connected those dots for you. And real-time video deepfakes and live calls are now commercially available. Your face, your voice, your CEO's face on a video call asking you to authorize a payment. Forensic detection tools fail on a significant portion of outputs. There is no reliable way to verify you're talking to a human. So here's what you should be sitting with right now. If your voice can be cloned, your trades are already automated, and your health vulnerabilities are already tagged and sold, what does a government look like when it feeds its own classified data into the same infrastructure? That's exactly what happened. In early 2025, operatives inside the Department of Government Efficiency uploaded confidential federal agency budget data, years of classified spending records, into commercial AI systems. Not government-controlled systems. Commercial ones. The AI generated the cut lists. Career officials with 30, 40 years of institutional knowledge were replaced by model outputs. They found out by automated email. No manager called. No hearing happened. No audit. That same year, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth summoned Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, one of the most safety-focused AI labs on the planet, to the Pentagon. The request was explicit: build an AI with no safety guardrails for military applications. The Pentagon wasn't asking whether it was possible. They already knew it was. They were negotiating delivery. Here's the part that should make you stop. The same companies publicly warning you that AI hallucinates too much to be trusted in medicine or law. Those same companies are selling triage tools to hospitals and contract review software to law firms right now. They're not wrong about the hallucination problem. They're using it. Every month without an accountability framework is a month they operate without liability. Then in May 2026, Pope Leo XIV published a papal encyclical. Nearly 43,000 words. The first document of its kind in history focused entirely on artificial intelligence. His words, AI threatens to normalize an anti-human vision and must not stay under the control of a few private actors. The Vatican issued a formal warning before most governments had held a single committee meeting. And here's the number nobody says out loud. Ajay Katra, one of the most cited AI safety researchers working today, puts a 50% probability on AI training compute matching the human brain by 2040. That is not a science fiction date. That is before most children starting school right now will have graduated university. So when the Pentagon, the White House, and the Vatican all said something in the same 12-month window, that is not a coincidence. That is the disclosure finally cracking open. And what it tells you is that someone knew all of this long before you did. Who knew first? And what exactly did they do with that advantage? The woman survived. AI caught what 2 radiologists had cleared as normal. She got lucky. The NHS didn't deploy that tool nationally until years after that study ran. Someone had it. They chose when you find out. The executive wired 220,000 euros. Never recovered. By the time that story broke publicly, the tools that made that call possible were available to anyone online. The federal workers got emails. Not managers. Emails. Find out what AI your bank and hospital already use. It's in their terms of service. Buried but there. Set a voice code with anyone who handles your money. And stop waiting to be told. The gap between what AI can do and what you're told it can do, that is not an accident. Drop a comment right now. What's the one thing you're doing differently starting today?